morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, boys, and good morning, class of 2018. Professor Mamokgethi Phakeng began her term of office as Vice-Chancellor of the University of Cape Town in July this year, where she had been serving as Deputy Vice-Chancellor for Research and Internationalization. Prior to joining UCT, she served as Vice Principal for Research and Innovation at UNISA. Prof. Phakeng holds a PhD in mathematics from WITS and is a highly regarded scientist with over 60 research papers and 5 edited volumes published. She has been invited to deliver numerous keynote talks at international conferences and has won a string of awards in her research and community work, including the Order of the Baobab, conferred upon her by the President of South Africa. In 2014, CEO magazine named her the most influential woman academic in Africa. And in 2016, she was awarded the prestigious Businesswoman of the Year award in the education category. Prof. Phakeng became the first black South African researcher to be appointed to co-chair a study commissioned by the International Commission on Mathematical Instruction. The study, entitled Mathematics and Language Diversity, has completed its work and has published a volume also in 2016, which she co-edited. She is a member of the board of the Oprah Winfrey Leadership Academy for Girls, a trustee of the First Rand Foundation, and a member of the board of the Dramatic, Artistic, and Literary Rights Organization, which is a bit of a tongue twister, but I got it out. Prof. Phakeng is also founder of the Adopt a Learner Foundation, a non-profit organization that provides financial and educational support to students from township and rural areas to acquire higher education qualifications. This is not a complete list of her remarkable work and achievements, but to say that she is eminently qualified to speak to us this morning is putting it mildly. Prof, numbers of these Rondebosch gentlemen will be transferring into your care within the next few months, so good luck with that. But in the meantime, it is my honor to welcome you to the podium.
Good morning, students, parents, teachers, the management of the school, members of the school governing body, and all distinguished guests present here today. I'm indeed very delighted to be in such good company, and I thought, what should I share with you? Well, I have a practice in my life of taking notes as I go on. I take notes of things that I wish someone had told me before a particular stage. And I have a file on my computer of a whole lot of things. And this morning, I thought I should share with you 3 things that I wish someone had told me before I turned 21. I'm guessing that all the students here this morning, none of you are 21, so I thought I should choose from the list of things that I wish someone had told me before I turned 21. So it's because I like reflecting on my learnings. I reflect on my learnings regularly, and one of the things that I've been doing is to compile these lists that I wish someone had told me. At 21, at 40, at 50, I keep writing them in. I'm 52 now, and I keep putting in the list the things I wish someone had told me before I turned 50. These are the things that I learned from experience, and I believe that they have been very important in helping me be the person that I am today. And of course, speeches are not always a good thing, so I'll keep saying number 1, number 2, number 3, so that you know the end is nigh. Number 1, I wish someone had told me that there is a big difference between getting a qualification and getting an education. I only learned this important fact after spending 10 years at university and started working. You see, many people confuse getting a certificate with getting an education. And that is the reason why we have so many people today who have certificates but cannot do the jobs that their certificates say they can do. And I'm not talking about people who studied mathematics and are suddenly expected to function as business analysts and they're struggling a little bit at the beginning. You know, I teach at university and I've been doing that for more than 20 years. And it is very interesting because you meet all kinds of different students that you interact with on a daily basis. Some are very hardworking, and they will be at the professor's door all the time. And some of them would be doing very well, and they'd still be coming to you as a professor and saying, I want to do better in this course, so I'm here to talk to you about how you can help me get a distinction. And the student might be getting a 60%. The point is that the student is doing well, is already getting distinctions in their assignments, but they're concerned about the fact that they do not want to lose the opportunity to get a distinction in the exam. Of course, all of us professors love that kind of student, the one who wants to do better all the time. But there are also those students who want to do as little as they can to get the degree. They want to pass the course without doing much work. In essence, they came to the university to get a certificate, not to get an education. It is like people who want the certificate to swim, but they do not want to learn how to swim. The danger is that if you throw them into the swimming pool with that certificate in their hand, they will still drown. Unfortunately, the certificate to swim on its own cannot make someone a swimmer. And don't get me wrong, I'm all for qualifications, and I support and encourage my students, our young people all the time to study further and do well. But my view is that people should register for further study in order to get an education and not just to get a certificate or a qualification, because we have just too many people in this country with certificates, but they cannot do what their certificates say they can do. You see, people who get an education are those who are open to learning, and learning doesn't only happen in the classroom or in school. Can I get some water? Education doesn't only happen in a classroom. The one thing that a school or a classroom does is that it provides us with an opportunity to be in the same classroom with many other people who are different from us. And of course, when we are in school or at university, we have to study hard and pass our tests and exams and get our matric or a degree or a diploma. What we have to know, however, is that while getting the qualification is important, it is no guarantee that you have an education. There is a whole lot of education that takes place in school and university that is not taught. We get that education through interacting with students from different cultural, racial, religious, or other backgrounds, sharing our ideas, and being critical of the things that perhaps do not resonate with our ideals or our values. It is through these kinds of interactions that we build strong networks that will carry us through our lives. I don't know how many of you know the fact that our former president, Nelson Mandela, spent 6 years at Wits University as an LLB student. It is a story that fascinates me a lot, because Madiba was at Wits from 1943 to 1948, but he never graduated from Wits in that 6 years. He only joined he never graduated. When he came to Wits, thank you. When he came to Wits, he was not a member of the ANC. He only joined the ANC in 1943 while being a student at Wits. In fact, he started his political career while being a student at Wits. I argue that while Mandela did not get a degree at Wits, at the end of the 6 years that he spent at Wits, he got an education. In his book, Long Walk to Freedom, he speaks fondly of Wits. By the way, he did get degrees from other universities, but he speaks fondly of Wits. In fact, Wits is probably the only university that he mentions, and is the only university that he left some money for in his inheritance, in his will, when he passed on. Despite the fact that he did not get a degree at Wits, he talks fondly of Wits. While he has other degrees from other universities, he doesn't speak about them, he speaks about Wits, because that's where he got his education. And in the book, he says, Wits opened a new world for me, a world of ideas and political beliefs and debates, a world where people passionate about politics. I discovered, for the first time, people of my age, firmly aligned with the liberation struggle, who were prepared, despite their relative privilege, to sacrifice themselves for the cause of the oppressed. And that's in Mandela's Long Walk to Freedom. So here's my advice as we finish high school. It is very important to study hard and get your matric, or whatever qualification that you want to study towards. But please make sure that you get an education. Don't go out there and only look at the book or only at the class. Learn from everyone around you, even the things that you don't agree with. look at them, think about them, reflect, and be clear about why you don't agree with them. Number two, I wish someone had told me about the importance of staying curious. Stay curious. Be curious about people around you. You know, we live in a country where people make assumptions about each other before they even say hello to them. People just look at you. They check your race, your gender, and if you're me, your size as well. And they make a conclusion about what you know, where you come from, what you qualify, why you're doing the job that you're doing. My advice is do not project preconceptions or assumptions about people you meet. In most instances, it's people who are different from you that have a lot to teach you about their lives, where they are from, how their lives have been like. If you ask a lot of questions, you will get a lot of answers, and that's information and wisdom. Do not just assume you know a person or a place by labels that are so easy to put on them. If a girl is blonde or pretty, it doesn't mean they are dumb. Ask questions and find out. If your bank manager is a young black woman, it doesn't mean they're an affirmative action appointee and do not know what they're doing, even if their English is not that good, because fluency in English doesn't say how smart or how much you know. If a white boy likes rugby and prefers to speak Afrikaans during school breaks, it doesn't mean that they're racist. Ask questions and find out. And of course, if a young black man is wearing a red beret, it doesn't mean they hate white people automatically. Ask questions and find out. This is a great gift you can give yourself. But before you leave high school, make sure that you open up to the world. Don't make yourself ignorant by keeping to labels. This guy is black and therefore he cannot be trusted. This girl is from an informal settlement and therefore she cannot possibly be cool. Or I've never met someone in that religion. It's weird. Ask questions. That's how you acquire street smarts. The stuff they can never teach you in books. Also stay teachable, which means knowing that irrespective of how smart you are, you still have plenty to learn. You know, I love traveling, and I'm very fortunate to have an opportunity to travel a lot. And the cities that have made a huge impression on me and that I have learned a lot from are those that I knew the least about. These are countries that are not shown much on TV. They're a bit different. This is the reason why I love India. And 2 years ago, I went to my, 18th trip to India. And I normally, when I travel, I write blogs. And on this day in India, I wrote a blog. And it was my 10th day in India. And I call them Diary of a Feb Academic. So I'm going to read you what I wrote on day 10 in India 2 years ago. And I was in Guwahati. And I wrote, today we visited the Indian Institute of Technology, Guwahati. Yes, it is a Saturday, but a normal working day for both academics and students because they lost one day to a holiday. As they explained it, today they're compensating for a Tuesday they lost sometime during the academic year. So I thought, can this ever happen in our country? This is a different place with a different way of thinking. The staff stayed there working till they left at around 6 p.m. Yes, on a Saturday. In the middle of a desperate city, overcrowding, and a significant amount of dirt on the street stands the Indian Institute of Technology, Guwahati campus, along the Brahmaputra River, one of the major rivers in Asia. The campus is huge, it's beautiful, well-resourced and pristine. Both staff and students live on campus. It's like a residential estate in South Africa, well, in Johannesburg perhaps, except that this one is meant for very clever people, some of whom may end up in winning some Nobel Prize for Science one day. Yes, Indian institutes of technology are very prestigious. This is a place where the top scientists are trained. This specific campus caters for about 5,000 science and engineering students, the creme de la creme. The admission process is hugely competitive. Out of more than 100,000 undergraduate students who apply, only a few get admitted. and there are no automatic scholarships for undergraduate students. This is a fascinating country. Besides the huge disparities between the rich and the poor, they value excellence and they are very comfortable with the meritocracy that the IIT system is about. Of course, they have a quota system imposed by government to facilitate entry for children from the lower caste. But once they are in, the expectations of them are just exactly the same as everyone else. No preferential treatment and no toy-toy. As one of the professors explained, they are working hard not to be beaten by China in science. Today, I said the word wow too many times. I know this happens a lot when I'm in India. This country is very special, warts and all. Special is the only way I can describe the India I love. That's India through my eyes of curiosity, the eyes that is not absorbed by the dirt, the overcrowding, the smell around, but sees the beauty of the place and what it has to offer, and perhaps what we can learn from it as a country and institutions in this our country. The third point, remember I said 3? So which means very soon this is going to end. The third thing that I wish someone had told me before I turned 21 is this: your actions, right or wrong, have consequences. When you choose an action, you also choose the consequences. Welcome to adulthood. Your parents, your friends, society, the government, the president, the Vice-Chancellor, the business world, no one but you is responsible for how you conduct yourself. You're not a victim. Even if you are black in a country that has got a history of apartheid, you're not a victim. The single most important determining factor in your life is you. And it is never too early to get your ethical act together. Be strong about what you believe in. Be firm about who you really are, the pluses and the minuses. Know what you will and will not do to get ahead. Know what you can or cannot live with. Because life out there will test your ethics and therefore teach you ethics every day. Other people's ethics do not have to be yours. You and you alone are responsible for how you behave. So if you're going to ignore what you know to be the difference between right and wrong, you will pay a huge price. And I'm not just talking about losing sleep. So think about what you're willing to do to get ahead. To what lengths will you go? The ethical and spiritual lessons you have learned and continue to learn from your parents, your teachers, and your religion are internalized, and they keep talking back to you, guiding you through life. The problem is hearing it. So when the pressure is intense, you have to take time to stop and have a conversation with yourself, reflecting on what your own ethics are, what your values are, and the process never stops. I still do it as Vice-Chancellor of UCT. The world out there is rife with bribery, fraud, and scandal, and every kind of white-collar crime that we read about in the newspapers every day. The pressure and temptation to fall into the trap is great. But when I say your behavior has consequences, I'm not just talking about going to jail or losing sleep. I'm talking about your good name, your reputation. It is much bigger than the high marks. It's much bigger than the job, the money. It is who you are. Don't give it away so fast. Well, those are the 3 things, 3 of the many things that I wish someone had told me before I turned 21. It's a sort of my report from the fighting front as an adult. And I'm sure you need much more than those 3 to get through this life after high school. But the time we have today is limited, so those are the only ones I can share with you this morning. And I hope that they've given you some wisdom to get on with your life. And perhaps to end my talk, let me just say, I wish I could tell each one of you that you will achieve greatness, whatever you do beyond today. Let me be the first to tell you that you may not. But you can achieve happiness and a rich life by taking your time, working hard, getting down on your knees every now and then to thank God for what you have and to ask Him for the faith, the love, the guidance, and the humility we all need to get through this life. Each and every one of you is a powerful and resilient human being, capable of living the life you design yourself. It is within you to carve out your own future and create your own destiny. You're in a wonderful moment, alive with opportunity. Try to keep this feeling of endless possibility alive as long as possible. So I wish all of you the strength, the faith, and the courage to succeed in everything you do. So go out there, be free, and achieve it. I hope to see you at UCT in January next year.